Hey guys, this is Ronnie with Simple Wholesaling. Got my good friend Randy with us. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on?
Nope, just here just to talk about our motivated seller workshop. If you are looking for a meetup, the in-person experience is definitely going to be the best. And you'll kind of see that here with this with this meetup presentation. So um, just going to go ahead and kind of hop right into it. This is our wonderful Simple Wholesaling team. Up to the top left, we have Mr. Brett Snodgrass. He's the owner. We fired him a little while ago, so he's been up in the owner's box, just watching down. Comes down and swoops in on us every blue moon. We have Brian Snyder, who is our CEO visionary. You guys see him on the TV commercials here in Indianapolis. Man, that guy next to him looks pretty familiar. Oh yeah, that's Randy.
That would be me, Mr. Randy Placencia. So director of sales here for Simple Wholesaling / Simple Quarters. Been here for 3 years, and yeah, everything sales is what I touch.
Yep, that's awesome. Next to him is Mrs. Anna Snyder. She is the bones, the structure. She kind of helps all of our things just be in check, processes and procedures, paperwork, systems. She's the person for that, and we need her. She is absolutely awesome in that role. Down below, Brett is myself, Ronnie, Director of Engagement, seeing over things, social media engagement and things of that nature, and to connect with you here in our meetup. Next to me is Miss Elisa Drake. She sells everything that we buy. She is awesome, and we definitely appreciate her skill set. Next to her is Mr. Nigel Mcgill. He's one of our acquisition managers, also takes pictures and things like that, sets marketing material for our team as we're displaying properties. And then next to him is Mr. James Williams, a great individual, really good at talking with motivated sellers and also connecting and building rapport. He is a master at that. So as far as contact information, if you got a deal that you want us to analyze here in the Indianapolis area, you can send it to me, Ronnie at simplewholesaling.com. If you need to buy a property, Alicia at simplewholesaling.com. If you're looking for coaching, trying to scale up, will be Brian at simplewholesaling.com. So really quick, I'm just going to go a quick review. Last month's meetup, we talked about as you're conversating with motivated sellers, how important it is to set the stage using tone, mirroring different things, letting them know the expectation, how this call is going to go, the importance of building rapport, listening deeper, finding something that sets you apart, something that's going on with that seller. Maybe here's something in the background. Transitions, how to transition conversations from the elementary beginning greeting stage, but to kind of get to the meat and potatoes. Also, different things to uncover those motivations. And after that, also too, talking about deal killers, things and other people that can get in the way of this being a successful transaction. And then also we talked about negotiations as well. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and go into our workshop of that, where our, this is, actually putting things into practice. And what this really is also helping you identify the seller personality types, or more common selling personality types, and how to kind of overcome any objections, or just treat that person as you're dealing with them, if that makes sense. Okay, so the first type of motivated seller I want to talk about is the raging bull, the type A. Some of you guys might know someone that qualifies in that, might be married to someone or have children that are type A. Randy, kind of talk about some of the traits that you would see with a type A personality.
Yeah, man. So type A, for the most part, they just have a competitive personality. They always feel like they need to win in any situation, any conversation, anything really that they're a part of. They need to have the upper hand in some sort of way. And I think we can all relate to that with probably people that we work with, even like coworkers, right? There's always that one person that you work with that's like, man, every time I tell him something, he's a one-upper, right? or he needs to have the last word. So they're competitive. Second thing, they're impatient. So this is someone you're talking to on the phone. They don't care about the details and why you're calling. They're like, hey, you called me, get to the point, why you calling? typically like they want to get down to the nitty gritty, and they want to know why you're calling and if it's worth their time, and if you deserve their time. So you see there, they get frustrated when they need to fall in line. They tend to lose their temper quickly, move fast and often, and think they don't have a lot of time to spare. Um, and then they're dominating. So whether at work or in their personal lives, people with a type A personality seem to show dominance in any interaction. Kind of mentioned that, kind of basically they want to take control of the conversation, and they want to have that last word. So they assert themselves without really thinking about what other people feel. So again, it's that type of person that says, "Hey, they're very transparent," which is good because you know exactly where they stand. So they give you a little bit to work off of that, but they're not going to care if they hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
So this is basically in a nutshell type A. And depending on personality type, in my opinion, I know we didn't talk about this at the meetup, but I think, because sticking to the topic of what we're talking about today, I think if you're cold calling anybody, no matter what their personality is, and we'll talk about the rest of the personalities here, but I think everyone that gets cold called initially will show traits of a type A.
That is true.
Because you're catching them off guard.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. If someone calls me, I'm like, what? Who is this? Like, do I know you? But I'm not a type A. I'll talk to you. Once you tell me why you're calling, if it has any interest to me, I will talk to you, and I won't be like making sure I have the last word. Like I'm a pretty easy person to talk to.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. If you're straight up cold calling someone to get a property or whatever it is, assume a type A is gonna pick up, because you're gonna catch them off guard. So just want to throw that out there. So type A tips when you're talking to them. You want to cut the fat, like we said in the previous slide. We need to get to the chase, get to the reason why you're calling, but make sure that you're still providing your value, but make it quick. Be clear in your communication and lean into their knowledge. So number 3 is a big one, because like we said, they want to be the one with the last word. They are going to, no matter what you guys talk about, they're going to know more. Mm-hmm. So lean into that. Yeah, it looks like you did your homework. It looks like you know what you're talking about, and just really push and really kind of compliment their knowledge. Yeah. Because stroke their ego is what they want, right? They want someone to tell them, yeah, like I'm the man.
Well, the woman.
Oh, the woman, yeah. So just a couple tips there, type A. I would say this one intimidates most people because they just don't know how to handle someone aggressive.
Right.
But it just takes getting beat up a couple times to learn how to control that conversation, and really just doing some personality types of like studying them and knowing how to communicate with each personality goes a long way. But don't be scared of them. Just know how to just cut to the chase and be clear and concise on what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Randy, you said something that was very good. You said usually when people first pick up the phone, they're going to present as type A, because honestly, type A is pretty defensive and they don't trust very easily. So initially, when that happens, you're going to get that first shield, of defense. Like, hey, who are you? What's going on? And then before you get behind it to try to figure out, which is really good. I definitely appreciated that tip back. So if you were in person, we would have done a role play here, but very quickly, with type A, one of the things you're going to hear very common is, what's your number? Give me the number. What's the number? Give me the number. What's the number? Give me the number. And you gotta work behind, to kind of work behind that. So, again, if you're in person, we could do this role play. All right. Well,
before we move on, that's the thing, man. Being in person is the biggest part of getting, really, for this month's meetup, was getting the most out of it. We spent 5 to 10 minutes on each personality doing real role play with everybody in the room. So that's the real meat of that meetup. So plugging it in there, if you're listening, like getting in person and going to the meetup, you get much more than doing the Zoom calls like this. It's more interactive, and it's more like it's the big learning experience. So
yep, for sure,
highly recommended.
For sure. So the next personality type, motivated seller, it is the inspector, or the super analytical. You're going to deal with these people a lot. And just with analytical sellers, their personality, they're going to be really focused on numbers. They're going to be focused on the situation, trying to see what's going on. They will also be very prepared. Okay. And they're going to kind of know what's going on with you or with your company or how this process works, because they've done a whole lot of research as far as what's going on, things going on in their area, what's going on with their house, what's going on with their neighbor's house. When you're talking with them and things like that, they're going to be able to tell you great details of what is happening two or three streets over, or the big building project that's coming to the area and things like that. They're going to know all of these things. And then when they're making their decisions, they're going to be slow with making the decisions. They're going to base their decisions on facts. So I know sometimes we try to, get people into their emotional brain and out of their analytical brain, but for the most part, these people are going to be concretely based on, what's going on, the facts, and they're not going to be playing so much into their emotions. And so this is just a tip, and kind of going ahead, with analytical sellers, you want to provide the key benefits of, when working with me, this is what you're going to get. This is what we're going to do. But as you're also stating those things, you want to make sure that you can back up your claim with the facts and also with stats. And then the last thing is providing contracts, past reviews of your services, and data. So again, with analytical sellers, you're going to need data. So what does that look like for you? That means, a spreadsheet or a handout of homes that have sold in the area, what those homes look like, what the price points were for that, what you're seeing, with the property that you are that they're looking to sell, what the real repair cost is, or a repair cost range to help you kind of get with that. With analytical sellers, you're going to actually have to do your numbers with them so that they see that. You're going to have to let them on the inside. I was dealing with the seller on a house last week, and that's what she wanted. She was like, "Well, my numbers say this," because she already had her numbers. Yeah. And like, remember, numbers are ranges, and what people want to do with things are different. So, that's what I would say with analytical ranges, sellers. Randy, what would you add to this?
Yeah, these are also people that are going to say, "Hey, I need to get at least 3 offers before I make a decision." And they're going to compare offers. They're going to compare, apples to apples or apples to oranges, depending on how far off things are. But I think one thing here, you mentioned before, like people like this will typically look you up, like you said. I think it's important to point out, a lot of people that, we talk to on a daily basis, they're just kind of a one-off wholesaler doing a couple deals a year maybe, or a couple deals a month, whatever it is. They don't have a website. You don't need a website, but the biggest thing is to have just reviews from people that you've done business with.
Yep.
It could be a contractor, even just anyone that can give you praise and saying this person did what that they said that they're going to do, so that we can kind of show them that, because not a lot of people have websites, right? And reviews, I think, way heavier than a website, in my opinion. But if they can't find you online, then provide them with the information that they're trying to look for, and then that'd go a long way with those sellers. So,
yep, for sure. Very good feedback there. So again, what we would have done, we would have done a role play with working with analytical sellers. I mean, I know that we had a good time in doing that. So Randy, want to talk about this one?
Yeah, the best friend, the expressive seller. So these are the ones that they're easy to talk to because they want to talk to you. You find yourself in situations where you're like, man, I haven't really asked a question in a while because we're just chit-chatting. We're just talking about life. We're just talking about their family, their kids, whatever it is. Typically longer conversations. So you see here, this personality can be impulsive and doesn't like getting bogged down in the details. They like to keep it easy. They like to, like I said, they're talkers, very friendly. They want to be your friend. Even if they have we've seen this a lot. If they have no interest in selling, they'll still talk to you for 20 minutes. Explain what you do. That sounds interesting. I don't want to sell my house, but I'd love to hear about what you do.
Right.
Had that before. They tend to be open, energetic, like we mentioned, and they're open to establishing long-term partnerships. So something like that would be like, hey, I don't want to sell my house, but if any of my neighbors do, I'll keep your contact information. I'll give them your information. You sound like a nice guy. If I was interested in selling, you'd definitely be someone I could work with. But my neighbor might want to, my cousin might want to. So feel free to keep in touch, and we'll talk to you down the road sometime. So people like that, very expressive. You can move on to the tips here.
Yep.
So tips to when talking to these sellers, sell them by offering case studies, demonstrate your product's track record of success. So yeah, it's just showing them successful closings, successful deals that you've done. Along, again, kind of the same thing, along with reviews will go a long way. Focus on the big picture. So they will make decisions on a lot of feels, right? Yep. So when you're either presenting offers, presenting your value, like ask questions like, what, like, how would that make you feel? Or what would that look like in the long run for you? What's the end goal here? That goes a long way with this type of seller. And keep the energy high and the details soft and simple. Just match their energy. Most of the time they're going to be high energy, or like I said, but willing to talk a lot. Just match it. And just sprinkle your details on how you do business and how you buy homes. Just sprinkle that in there here and there. Just to make sure they get the gist of it, but keep the energy high and the conversation open.
Yeah, it's really important, especially, I talk about this in person too, but with these expressive sellers, that are, very emotional and things of that nature, because they are so emotional, you definitely want to still pay attention to the details. So like, for instance, one of these things where it can bite you. Let's say they sign a purchase agreement, but then you don't explain, because they're not paying attention to details about proration of taxes. It might be something I'm like, oh my God, well, I didn't know about that, because they were so emotional. So you still want to make sure that, kind of going back to our the first half of this training last month, is that you want to change the structure of the conversation, bring down your tempo and tone, and slow things down, because they're high and either high expressive, whether it's super emotional because they're crying a lot, or just so motivated to get out of the situation. You want to slow things down so that they understand key details. Okay. As you're kind of moving forward. But again, great person, great people to work with, but you want to make sure that for all of these, that you plan for these, okay, as much as possible.
Yeah, if you sell this seller on working with you, then you've got a friend,
right?
But yeah, I think it's a good point there. Make sure that you still give them I don't want to say the fine print, but the details within the deal, so they don't get surprised at the end with something, because that will give them a lot of bad feels and freak
Correct. Them out. And the expressive, those are bad feels, they'll get on the Google reviews.
Yeah,
really expressive.
Yeah, they love to give reviews.
Yes, they do. So this would be a situation where we would have role played in person. But I'm just thinking we have it here. But if you have any questions, just about dealing with these type of sellers, there are other sellers that we can talk with, which want to talk about some of the common ones and common people that you're dealing with. Send those questions, to me, RonnieSimplePorters.com, and I can definitely reach out to you to make sure that we kind of get those questions answered. I deal with a lot of sellers, or a lot of wholesalers. They're having issues with sellers, and we're problem solve through how to work that. And because I want to see you win, I want the seller to win as well. But again, just as a reminder, June 29th, 6 p.m., 5255 Winthrop Avenue at the Speakeasy. We'll be going over how to analyze a deal, right? So that matters. Market's changing, buyers might be changing a little bit. You're hearing all these different, recession words and things like that. So very important to get in the room for this one. And I think that this will also be a workshop. Right?
Yeah, that'll be a good one, man.
Good one to workshop on. So with that, thank you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you in person, and have a great one.
See you guys.